Oh, this is fun. A save in error. Let's see if this works. Okay. Good morning. I'm Sally Snyder. I'm the Children and Teens Library Services Coordinator for the state of Nebraska here at the Nebraska Library Commission. And today I'm on my own because Krista is not available this morning. So I'm going to talk to you about great titles for summer reading program for next summer, because yes, last summer just got over. Okay, it's November, but it just seems like it just got over. And now we're going to talk about Color Our World, which is the 2024 theme. And it focuses on painting, artistic painting, colors, drawing, being creative in different ways. And so a lot of the titles I'm going to talk about have that focus. Not surprising. This, I forgot to start off with our NCompass Live happens every Wednesday at 10 o'clock Central Time. We have different programs for all kinds of libraries. So of course, this time, summer reading program is more about public libraries, though school libraries do celebrate it, and children's from preschool through. I have just a few teen titles, but there are a few. And anytime you want to show up on a Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central, you are welcome. Anybody who wants to watch the show, we have no restrictions. You can watch recordings. Each of these shows are recorded, and this one is already in recording mode. So if you have to pop out halfway through, you can catch the recording and watch the rest of it later if you're interested. Okay, so before we get started with my list, I want to talk about, let's see, you can find my handout on the Nebraska Library Commission webpage, which is nlc.nebraska.gov. And then up here in this corner, you just type handouts. And look what pops up, Nebraska Library Commission handouts. It says that because I keep thinking somebody else is going to put their handouts on this page, but so far it's just me. And I told people, throw yours in there, it's okay. So right under 2020, I don't know why it says that. Okay, NCompass Live 2025 Summer Reading Program, Color Our World. Just click there and there's the list. So you can print that off, copy it into your computer so you can just type in there. Pretty sure you can download it that way. And you can, that way you have the information for any of the titles you're interested in, who the publisher was. Oh, Kids Can Press is wrong. I have to fix that. Oh, sorry, I just saw that. Okay, anyway, so that's where you can find my handout. And you'll find the corrected one maybe tomorrow. All right, so then we go back to our page. And now I am going to bring over my slideshow because that's where all the good stuff is. Let's see, from the beginning. So Color Our World 2025 Summer Reading Program, preschool through teen. And for those of you who haven't heard this spiel before, I do have a cheat sheet or something. These are my blurbs, and I don't read them word for word. A few of them I do, but mostly they're there so that I keep on time. I don't want to keep you for 3 hours today when we can be done in an hour and 10 minutes, because I'm probably going to go over the 1 hour general rule of our NCompass Live program. And so the reason I do that is to keep on time and also to be sure I hit all the points I wanted to hit about why I think this book might be good for your library. I don't expect anybody to buy all these books. That's a lot of books. But you can look through here, see what will fill a need in your library, something you don't have, or yeah, we need one more book about colors, because I have some books about colors for the preschool kids, Color Our World, and you can talk about colors and coloring, and that's a great thing to do for the little ones. So we're going to get started now. Let's see where my buttons are. We're going to start with fiction picture books. Marielle is overwhelmed when her many aunts, uncles, and cousins arrive for her younger brother's birthday. Too many touches and too much noise for her. Her mother guides her to her father, who's out in the garden. He needs relief too. She paints a picture for her brother, but it is torn into pieces. With tears on her face, she paints a boat and sails away on it, as you see on the cover here. And notice that her oar is a paintbrush. I thought that was great. She slowly settles down, and after a while, she can hear Abuelo's dominoes and smell Abuela's vanilla and sugar, and she heads home. Her painting has been taped back together, and all the family join together to paint art to display on the clothesline. So she feels redeemed, so to speak. She feels like, oh, they do care about me, and they do care about my art. It's a good story about being overwhelmed and what are some things to do to help you get through that. I love this one. A boy proudly points to his brother as a living work of art. She has tattoos that celebrate her loved ones, tattoos that tell all about her life. He also enjoys seeing neighbors and other people with tattoos. And you can see in the picture frame right around her neck, it says, "I am art." She is, look at her arms, beautiful. And then the boy says, quote, "I learned from her to treat with kindness everyone I see. Tattooed or bare, I should not care, but just let people be." So this is about celebrating people as they are, family love, and the fact that art is everywhere. This is a companion book to their How to Read a Book and How to Write a Poem. Kwame Alexander's had a different person assist with the books. This time it is Randy Preston. And again, this time it is a poem on the topic of singing, noting that a concert is happening all around you, all kinds of sounds that should not be missed. Poet Kwame Alexander and singer-songwriter Randy Preston encourage readers to listen and to sing. And then Randy Preston says, what they did with this book, they wanted to allow others, singers and non-singers alike, to realize how fun, easy, and addictive singing can be, whether in tune or not. Me not. But it's a fun book, and if you have the other two, then you're probably going to want to add this one to your collection. Love this one. Two fathers and three children begin to climb a rainbow and exclaim, "We're following a rainbow to find the rainbow-saurus. We're following a rainbow. Would you like to join us?" And individual, unusually colored animals join them. First one, then two, then three at a time. A red cow, a yellow frog, a blue sheep, and more, making their animal noises. All people and animals are frolicking along the rainbow. "Where are you?" they ask after sliding down the other side. "I'm right behind you," it says, standing under the rainbow. And it is a colorful rainbow-saurus, as you see on the cover. So again, this is about colors, the colors of the rainbow, and animals with silly colors. This is touching book. Excuse me a minute. The boy and his older sister fight. No words, just push, pull, hurt, hide. He takes her toy, fight. Gets on her bed, fight. After they fight, he gets his notebook and draws stories of terrible horses who neigh and stomp and run. And he draws the lonely little pony who can do none of those things. He can't compete, can't speak, can't sleep. One day his sister takes a look at his notebook and she sees herself and him in his art. She hugs him and says, "Sorry." Never mentioned in the text, but in the illustrations, we see the boy is wearing hearing aids. You don't see it so much here on the cover, but you can see it in the other illustrations. So this is family love, expressing anger and sadness, and asking forgiveness and caring. This one was actually published in 2021, but I put it on the new list because those of you who know the series may already have it, but it's a wonderful, it's a wonderful book. Aaron loves to hear stories and he loves to draw. To write stories, he thinks, is the greatest of things. When he gets to school, he hopes he will be reading by the end of the first day. But he has trouble. Reading is not easy for him. Then his second grade teacher asks the class to each write a story. He tries. He tries so hard, but he can't. At school, he hesitates and then begins to tell a story about a wonderful magical flower. Then he sadly turns in his paper that only has a flower drawn on it with no words. His teacher says, "Thank you." And he realized his art makes the difference. His art leads the way and helps him discover what he wants to say. It's from the book. He also does continue to work hard with help learning to read because he has a learning difficulty. And you're not going to believe this is on the list. Yes, A Little Golden Classic by Margaret Wise Brown. This is older. Brush and Hush are two kittens who have lots of buckets of paint and love to splash them together. They want to find all the colors of the world. A traditional yellow and red make orange experiment follows, but they wanted green, so they keep trying, and they come up with a lot of different colors before they finally get green. It's sweet and a fun look at colors, and I ordered this from the bookstore across the street, and they got it in. It's still available. You can buy it from Amazon or a bookstore if you're looking for something to add to your collection. Do you believe that there's a book called Craft Roach? I saw this book at the bookstore across the street and I had to buy it. This is told in rhyming text. The title Roach has an overly enthusiastic tendency towards glitter and over-the-top costumes, as you can see on the cover. The other roaches tell him he must hide and avoid being seen. Don't stand out. He thinks if all of them were gussied up, maybe they would be appreciated. One day, the human who lives in the house leaves for a week, and the craft roach convinces the others to try it his way. And he shares what he has with them all. And they have a lot of fun. Glitter, other fun things like he has there. And then, when the human returns, she exclaims, "Please pose for me." She's a painter, and she paints them for her exhibit. Very accepting of these roaches. As School Library Journal on March 1st, 2024 says, this book is a delightful exploration of individuality, creativity, and the rewards of embracing one's true self. It does include a 2-page spread on how the readers can make their own craft roach or craft bug, which is also fun. I'm sure every parent's going to delight at having a craft roach in their house. I mean, on paper. Olive Chen's parents are serious artists. They own an art gallery that displays their works in black and white, as you can see in the background. Her father specializes in painting squares. Their mother paints triangles. They hope Olive will follow in their footsteps and paint a shape. Olive paints in color, splatters and splashes and bold colors on her canvases. Her teacher despairs of her ever being able to paint a shape. But the kids in her class love her art, and she teaches them how to do it by painting the town, all kinds of colors, and they follow her through the town, painting it all like right here on the cover, bunches of different colors. As a group comes upon her parents' art gallery, her parents see the beautiful colors and the happy people and invite her in to paint something in their gallery. She does. A beautiful, colorful, perfect circle. They are thrilled. She painted a shape. Still in color though. Again, about an individuality, enjoying what you're doing, and the wonder of colors. A child is gray today, not sunshine yellow or treetop green. They feel like the scribble on a page, feeling down. But the narrator, Mom, assures them that while they feel gray today, the sun is still there and Mom loves them no matter their mood. So this is feelings as they relate to color. Feeling down happens, but other emotions will return. And Kirkus says, color words signal emotion. And this wise charmer will help brighten readers' feelings. Acknowledging that you're just feeling down and you're going to have a better day tomorrow probably is rewarding. Pronounced Métis, as noted on the title page, the book introduces the Métis, which is French for the word mixed. They are people descended from First Nation women and European fur traders. They have a Métis Nation and a homeland in Alberta, Canada. The children in the book talk about the things they do with family and friends: fishing, berry picking, and the craft of beading, which the main character greatly enjoys. There is also a child who is Métis, but does not know their culture. A Métis girl says, "It's never too late, you can learn now," which can be said of all of us. Saskatoon berries are called Juneberry or serviceberry in the US because they talk about getting the Saskatoon berries. I looked it up and that's what they told me. So this is celebrating culture, learning the craft of beading. You can see the beautiful designs on the cover. Embracing others new to their heritage, being very welcoming to the girl who doesn't know anything yet about her heritage. Today is a good day to explore the colors of this world, says the characters. From a brilliant red sunrise through the violet of a darkening sea and time for bed. Roy G. Biv, The Colors of the Rainbow, gets its due in this amazing world of three mermaids. One has a limb difference, as Kirkus Review calls it. She is missing most of her left arm with just a small part at the top. The youngsters have lots of fun in a variety of colorful undersea places. This is hilarious. The artist sees the reader and begins to explain the strict rules of painting a still life work of art. Never looking again at his painting, he states that nothing ever moves in a still life, as a pair of mice leave footprints of jam on the cheese. And wait, is there a bite of cheese missing now? As the painter continues to babble about his viewpoint, many other things are happening in and around the painting. A dragon there? It's silly fun, and as it says in the end papers, this painting is breaking all the rules, because those are the rules of still life, but that doesn't mean the characters in the painting have to stay still. This one is a lot of fun, maybe more for adults because of who's all involved here. A girl has many questions before beginning to paint on her canvas. Fortunately, 37 artists have lots of answers. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Georgia O'Keeffe, Eric Carle, Ellen Neal, and Andy Warhol. We don't know the names of some of the artists, such as the cave artists in France and the ceramic sculptors of China who created their terracotta warriors. The bottom line, paint what and how you are inspired to paint. But it was fun that she stood and said, now wait, how should I do this? What should I do? And then all these pieces of advice come at her. And then she just decides to paint. Oh, this is me, I can't draw. Max cannot draw like his friend Eugene. Eugene is the best artist in the whole school, so maybe he shouldn't expect to draw that well, as well as him. So Max asks Eugene to teach him, but that doesn't go so well. The book Eugene recommends is not that helpful for Max. The practice drawings are disappointing to Max. But you know, I say he drew a cat. I can tell that's a cat before I saw the other picture, so that's good. Finally, when Max lets go and decides to have fun, the result is a lot of goofy pictures with robots and dinosaurs causing trouble. Eugene kicks a little loose too. It's about accepting your ability level, stopping comparing his art with other people's arts, that's not what you're doing, and let yourself have fun. Enjoy it. A clothesline attaches to the sides of two buildings connect a boy and a girl. They send drawings to each other using the clothesline and add to the art when inspired. So you can see the lines going back and forth above them running. But one day the clotheslines are removed. Now they come outside the buildings and they use chalk on the sidewalks, the sides of buildings, the playground to continue sharing their art. Some passers-by are inspired too and share some art. This is about how art connects, about sharing your view and having adventures. They do eventually get a new clothesline back up between their rooms. Fun title. Agatha May is messy. Oh, maybe that's a little bit about her. Her desk is in disarray and she usually has chalk on her face and fingers. But when she gets her favorite fish to research and report on, she works hard. The class is astounded and the teacher impressed. She tells Agatha May, your desk is messy and your cubby a fright, but your mind is a treasure. It pulsates with light. Research isn't work when it's on a favorite topic. and others will usually respond to your enthusiasm. And anglerfish are fascinating. The author is an enrolled member of the White Earth Nation. The illustrator is an Ojibwe woodland artist and a member of the Wasauksing First Nation. A loving grandmother stitches new ribbon skirts for her granddaughter that reflect new events in the daughter's life and carries the tradition that honors women, family, and gratitude for the generations that came before them. This is an indigenous craft celebrating one's family and one's history and designing and wearing one's place with their people. So this shows where the granddaughter is. And of course, the grandmother gets a new skirt for herself as well. We meet the artist in her jungly habitat. Dinosaurs, lions, and elephants live there. We see her painting on the jungle floor and then deciding it is time for her to share her pictures with the world. She travels to a city with plenty of space for pictures. Look at all those blank canvases there on the sides of buildings. The drab walls of the city soon have amazing colors and art on them. People begin to gather to see what she will paint next. Then she makes a mistake and paints outside a line. Devastated, she stops. But the people love and want her art. A girl says, mistakes are how you learn. And heart is what matters, and your art is full of heart. Then her family and friends come to town to see her art. No one is worried, but it does look a bit like several Godzillas walking in the streets looking at the paintings, but it is lovely. And I love her colors, how they blend around her. Some picture book nonfiction. A picture book biography of the first Black woman to have a solo exhibit at the Whitney Museum in New York City, and the first Black woman to have her work chosen for the White House collection. That's a quote from, I think it's the inside of the cover of the book. Alma taught art to children and finally began to focus on her own art when she was almost 70. Her abstract, brightly colored art was painted in circles and stripes, dashes and dabs, ablaze with color, as you see here on the cover. That would be great art to have the kids do, dashes and lines and such. As a boy, Tyrus Wong traveled to the US with his father. They were planning to live in America, but the current law did not allow that. They both had to pretend to be someone else because new people weren't allowed, Asian people weren't allowed to come into the country. So they had to pretend to be someone who had already been allowed to enter. Tyrus had to memorize lots of information about the boy he was pretending to be. After passing the questioning, Tyrus went to school, but his favorite subject was art. He learned art in the Western style at the Otis Art Institute in Los Angeles. He also studied and practiced art from China's Song Dynasty. These prepared him for his most noted contribution to animated art. He was hired by the Walt Disney Studio to provide art in between major events of the film. When they began working on Bambi, he saw a chance to combine the two kinds of art he had studied, West and East. The forest scenes were done in his Eastern style, using watercolors and gentle strokes. It was very different, but it carried the feeling of the woods, and Walt Disney was enthusiastic. Unfortunately, Tyrus did not receive credit for this art for many years, but did continue to create art in different mediums, including with kites. Rita is a young woman with a full life living with Down syndrome in Toronto, Canada. She loves art and uses a variety of mediums to create both abstract and representational art. Sometimes she creates cut paper art as well. She also enjoys her job at a coffee shop, as well as yoga, dancing, and spending time with her friends. A window into another person's life and a glimpse at her many styles of art. I just happened across this book at the bookstore across the street, and I thought, this is perfect. One beginning reader book, Pete the Kitty, because we always need another Pete the Kitty book. It's almost time for the Magic Unicorn's dance party, and Stevie the Unicorn has lost the colors in his rainbow tail. Pete offers to help with his magic paintbrush. They walk around the park looking for colors. Pete sees some berries, and his magic paintbrush borrows some red from them. One by one, they find the missing colors in time for the party. Stevie thanks him, and Pete says, "It's cool to help friends." Sounds like Pete, doesn't it? So again, colors, rainbow, and Pete the Kitty. Got to be a winner. Two early chapter books. This is a new edition, completely redrawn and redesigned by the author. So though it has been published, the stories are the same, but the art and the design of it is completely new. It contains 3 stories. The first one titled The Art Lesson. In it, Chloe loves to draw all kinds of things. Maud does not and stomps off after Chloe mistakes her picture of a snake for a jump rope. Ooh, sorry. But Maud trips over 2 cans of paint, falls, and accidentally makes a dramatic, colorful, abstract painting on a line of paper. Now art is fun. The third story also has a bit of art in it. These stories are about friendship, exploring art, and redefining what something is. This is in the third story. The crack in the ceiling could be something scary, or if you rethink and paint in your mind around it, it could be something wonderful and fun. Evelyn and Avery, The Art of Friendship. This is a full-color graphic novel, and I suspect it is the first of 4 in this series. Some people are people, and some people look like animals. Evelyn's best friend is Avery, who looks like a skunk, but they all act like this is all normal. There is an art contest as part of the annual art show. Evelyn, Avery, and Dylan have teamed up for the contest, but there are some differences of opinion. Dylan wants their entry to be epic, and the other 2 want it to be fun to create. Dylan picks on Avery, and they both quit the team, but they both secretly ask Evelyn to work with them. When they find out, they blame Evelyn, and she runs home crying. This is about friendship troubles, that teamwork takes work, and apologizing is more than saying, I'm sorry. Okay. Now I have fiction for grades 2 to 5 or so, that general range. I meant to say earlier that I divide the titles into age groups. That's generalization. We all know that each child is an individual and they're all reading on a different level, depending on what the book is about and how interested they are in it. So this is just a guideline. This is kind of scary, and I'm a chicken, but I managed. This is a Deep Haven Mystery Book 2. I haven't read the first one yet. Inside the book cover, it says, after an unsettling first semester, Guinevere, Neve, Tallow is looking forward to a quiet winter break at Deep Haven Academy. But when they discover a strange artifact, a scrimshaw hidden away deep in the underbasement of the school, they can't resist the urge to investigate further. So as you can see on the skull at the top of the cover, there are designs on the teeth of the skull. It seems to be the skull of the school's founder, Malachi Haven. And each of the few remaining teeth has a tiny image that foretells disaster. And soon, one student after another is injured, apparently due to the implied fact depicted on each tooth. There are some supernatural elements included along with the mystery of how and why this is happening. Neve and their best friend Danny work together, then apart, to try to solve it. So Scrimshaw, only book about Scrimshaw on my list. This is a full-color graphic novel. Dale loves creating comics and finds a way to restart the school's former art club. With a few other students who love comic book art, he is ready to prove to the vice principal that art is a legitimate profession. Upbeat with some roadblocks to their final hopes, the students work hard to meet the requirements set by the vice principal, who for some reason really thinks art is not necessary. The main character will continue to explore future career opportunities. They demonstrate that art is worthwhile, and adult support for what interests one is valuable. There's another teacher who backs them up. There are some good information for students to consider as they ponder their ability in art if they want to try and follow that themselves. This book was first published in Canada in 2022, titled Autumn Bird and the Runaway. It was published in the US in 2024. Autumn and Cody do not run in the same circle at school. Autumn and her parents are Cree and live in a well-to-do neighborhood. Cody's mother is incarcerated and his father is neglectful, racist, and abusive. One night, after another beating, Cody runs away without a plan and ends up hiding in the bushes near Autumn's house. She finds him and hides him in her father's art studio behind the house. Cody is fascinated by the art her father has created. When he finds some blank pieces of paper, he draws on them. He is soon discovered and welcomed into their home. Just a side note, The legality part of this is noted but glossed over. For one thing, his father is not worried about him and is not looking for him. Doesn't care that he's gone. Cody says something to Autumn that is racist and mean, but he doesn't understand that it is. He has heard it often from his father, which is why he said it. Over time, he does apologize and begins to learn that the things his father said were thoughtless and racist. He begins to fit in well with Autumn's family, and he is working hard on his own art. This is about caring about others, becoming aware of racist comments, and finding one's way, and also doing the right thing, because when she found him, he was in need. And investigators, this is book 6 in the series, Mango and Brash are sent to solve the mystery of valuable art being stolen from an armored car. The art was picked up from the airport and driven straight to the museum where the car was empty. How could it be empty? They didn't stop anywhere. It is decided that Mango will paint another masterpiece to be picked up at the airport so they can follow and discover the culprits. Silly antics, puns, spoofs of famous art, and wacky events, only what you'd expect from the investigators, are rampant in this title. Fans of the series will love it. It also includes picking up on clues, partners working together, again, working together takes work, and appreciation of fine art. Dina is 13, she's in 7th grade, and she is a member of a Pakistani-American family, and she has anxiety. She has trouble eating breakfast most mornings, feeling nauseous. She dreams of being an artist, but that's not something her parents wish for her. When she tries to help her mom's home business, selling Desi clothes to the local aunties, at first she is not sure her idea will work. Then her mother's business begins to pick up, and she meets an actual, authentic Pakistani-American artist in the shop in their basement. It is wonderful and gives her hope. Finding one's way in family and in middle school is tough. This is what she's doing. Getting help for her anxiety is smart. Developing a better friendship with her cousin is also smart. And looking beyond to possibilities. Jiyoung or Gigi Shin loves to create, from her zany outfits to her self-executed hairstyles. She dreams of becoming an artist and doodles every chance she gets. At school, instead of taking notes, in choir, instead of singing, and at home, instead of homework. This is not going to go well eventually. Art is her way of escaping her boring life in suburban middle of nowhere Texas. Unfortunately, her working class immigrant parents want her to focus on her studies and pursue something more practical. Gigi only really feels like herself in art class and at lunch with her best friends, Carolina and Zena. When Gigi learns about an elite art camp on the East Coast, she's determined to go, but she knows her parents won't let her and they don't have the money for it. After overhearing her little brother Tommy complain about how hard math is and how his teacher goes too fast for him, Gigi has a brilliant idea, forming a tutoring club with her friends to make enough money for the art camp. With Carolina, Zena, and Caroline's friend Emma, the girls go all in, each with a reason for wanting the business to succeed. But the first few sessions with their classmates are a little chaotic, and Gigi wonders if she will end up sacrificing more than she bargained for to try to achieve her dreams. But they are successful in helping the students do better in their respective topics, so things might not be so bad. Lucy's father is a minor league baseball pitcher, a professional pitcher hoping to get called up to the majors, and Lucy inherited his passion for the game, but she's never played pitcher. She worries her skills would be compared to her dad's and she'd never measure up. And his pitching is what keeps him away from home so much of the year. Sometimes Lucy isn't sure what would be worse, being bad at pitching or being great at it. This summer, Lucy wants to learn to throw the perfect knuckleball. So she wakes up at the crack of dawn to practice in secret, without anybody knowing, not even the goats that usually watch them play baseball. She wonders if she'll ever feel brave enough to share her progress with her mom or dad. Can she prove to them and to herself that she has what it takes? Lucy's mom is a painter and she's working on items to put in her upcoming exhibition. Lucy's father is the one who tells Lucy to paint the game as a nod to her mother and be positive about her skills. This is book 2 of Doodleville. It's a full-color graphic novel, and Drew never meant for this to happen. She didn't mean for her doodle, Mike, to steal the centuries-old hat out of the painting. You can see Mike here floating above the kids and the baby with the hat that has been stolen. And she didn't mean to send the Art Institute of Chicago into a downward spiral of art-on-art combat. She just wanted to fix a simple mistake. Now everything's gone wrong and it's mayhem at the museum. But Drew and her art class, her art club, may be the only hope for the museum. Can they fix this before centuries-old masterpieces are destroyed forever? I sure hope so. That's a lot of fun, and imagination carries away. Now we have 4 books about Penny. Penny, the first one is Penny Draws a Best Friend. Penny is in 5th grade and uses drawing and doodles to help her cope with anxiety. She also visits the feelings teacher, Mrs. Hines, whenever things begin to overwhelm her. Now it seems her best friend Violet doesn't like her anymore. Violet quit art club. She said it was for babies. Art club is Penny's happy place. Penny spends a lot of time thinking of the worst case scenario, believing she will be better prepared if she has already thought about it and maybe even made a plan. She was assigned to the science fair group with Violet and Riley, who has been mean to her, and this is hard. But she has unexpectedly made a few new friends. Maria, Christian, who were in Mrs. Hines' waiting room because the lights went out, and Rocco, who is big and scary, but actually doesn't beat up kids. So this first book, dealing with her anxiety, missing her best friend, continuing to use drawing to help her with her anxiety, finding and adjusting to new friends because new friends have different needs and wants, and dealing with the science fair team, Violet and Riley. It has black and white art included on every 2-page spread and good characters with various skills and quirks. Book 2 is Penny Draws a School Play. Things have been going pretty well, but several changes and issues are coming up. Her teacher had hip surgery, so a new teacher will finish out the school year with the class. Her mom is expecting twins, and they are suddenly moving to a new house. Man, that's a lot. Anxiety is on the rise. Then she is cast in a role for the 5th grade school play. Oh no, she can't do that. Visiting Mrs. Hines, the feeling teacher, is a must. Many things to deal with, but Penny is getting better at handling such issues. As Kirkus says, navigating some uncomfortable changes and social situations require Penny to step outside her comfort zone and lean on her coping mechanisms to deal with her anxiety. And Penny Draws a Secret Adventure. Penny and her friends, Maria, Christian, and Rocco, are back. Less focus on doodling, but still plenty going on. The new babies are home. There are twins, a boy and a girl, and Penny and Juicebox, her brother, get to name them, but they can't agree. Penny finds a box in the shed that is full of old keys. Maybe one of them will open the mysterious box in the attic. It does, and they all find a map and the first clue to solve this puzzle on a secret adventure. And book 4, Penny Laurie's 5th grade class is thrilled when a famous author invites them on a trip to New York City. Sure, Penny's worried about the usual big city things, out-of-control bike messengers, falling pianos, aggressive pigeons, getting stuck in a famous museum overnight, but she's excited too. Those might not be the things I would have been worried about to go to the city. Then she finds out her trip buddy is her former best friend, Violet. What will they talk about? Still, the new friends are going to, and they will have her back. Now on to another character. This is what I call a pseudo-graphic novel. A novelist calls it a graphic novel hybrid. So it has lots of art, actual graphic novel pages now and then, and other times it has text and drawings that convey the rest of the story. So Casey is an aspiring artist, and she spends most of her time on Mercer Street with her best friend Nisha. They do people watching and doodling. She doodles whatever's happening in their neighborhood. But when she comes back from a summer away, the local corner store is boarded up. That's where her best friend's parents owned. The adults in town are all on edge, and Nisha is nowhere to be found. Everything is changing, and Casey's not sure what to do about it, especially without Nisha to help her. But Casey has a knack for noticing things, and with her sketchbooks and observational skills, she just might have what it takes to figure out what's really happening on Mercer Street. I only have one question about this book. It's very fun and it has some important points to make. Why did she wait 2 weeks, wondering the whole time, before she went to her friend's former apartment and found that other people were living in it? It's not that far away, according to the map. But anyway, otherwise it's good. And she does come to some good conclusions. Ramey sees a floating girl in a museum, and he knows he has seen her somewhere before. And then he realizes it. She looks just like the girl in the painting that has gone missing. But how does her appearance connect to the theft? Why does she appear in the museum? With Ramey, the help of his classmate, will Ramey, with the help of his classmate Vita, be able to solve the mystery? The clues are all around them, but they'll have to be brave enough to really look. And that turtle or tortoise there in the front of the scene plays a role. Some nonfiction for grades 2 or so, 2 to 5 or so. These are fun. There's 2 of them. He has a number of them in the series. They're all fun to draw. All Things Big and Small is published 2024. So that's, as far as I know, his newest one. They're designed for younger artists to have fun drawing animals for themselves. The books are basic with numbered steps for children to follow. They are not designed as guidance for up-and-coming professionals to follow. They're not bad. It's just that this is more for just have fun drawing a dragonfly or pony. I ran across these at the Tractor Supply Company here in Lincoln and said, I gotta buy these 2. I left one for somebody else to get. This is a graphic novel format biography of the Mexican artist Frida Kahlo, noting her first solo exhibition in New York City and how recognition of her art and talent gave her confidence to live the life she wanted. It notes the bus accident and her 3 months in bed from it, which actually started her art career since her parents designed a way for her to paint in bed. But for some reason, the book does not mention the polio she contracted at about age 6 years old. It damaged both her right and left foot and affected her for life. But you got to make your choices in books. It does include a timeline of her life and a bibliography. This was on my 2023 Best Children's Books list because it's all about Jerry Pinkney. It is his autobiography of how he became an artist. Since childhood, he drew everywhere all the time. It's how he made sense of the world, how he coped with the stress of being a sensitive child growing up in crowded spaces, struggling with a learning disability in a time when the segregation of Black Americans was the norm. Only drawing could offer him a sense of calm, control, and confidence. It is illustrated with the sketches Jerry had intended to make into detailed graphic drawings. That's from the editor's note. But the art gives a sense of his life and his passion for drawing, and how helping to sell newspapers on the opposite corner from the guy who hired him helped him because that guy was interested in his art and bought some paper and some items for him to use to draw just because of an interest in his abilities. I'd never heard of this lady, but a picture book biography of Sister Corita, a teacher and an artist with a fresh look at the world. She saw art everywhere. One of her favorite challenges to her students was to give each of them a piece of cardboard with a square cut out in the center. And she had them look at the world through the square hole and see art everywhere and then reproduce it. There's some art right there. It includes, as an author, in the author's note, a timeline of her life and a few small reproductions of her art, including the 1985 Love stamp. This book is really all about how artists' conceptions of the creatures changed each time the scientists learned something new. Like the iguanodon did not have a horn on its nose, it had a spike on each thumb. So you can see the drawing to the left, that iguanodon has a horn on its nose, and the one to the right does not. But they had to do this continually every time something was discovered and mistakes were made and then corrected. And so we know right now this is what we think, but we might be wrong still. But it's very fun to see the different representations of the iguanodon throughout history from the first time they found the bones to what we think now. You can see the bird sitting on his head. So what is color? It says on the back of the cover of this book. Once you start digging, color turns out to be a lot of things. It's messy, stinky, and even a little bit dangerous. You may already know that it's art, but it's science too. This book will take readers all over the world and introduce them to talented, brilliant, creative people, from scientists to famous artists and everyone in between, as we take a look at the color wheel for a spin. One tidbit of wacky info that I learned in this book is that cow pee can be used to make the color yellow. Not saying you want to use it anymore, but it could be done. There's extensive back matter in this book, and he talks about, I think there's arsenic in something too, but I can't remember now. Anyway, so a few teen titles, fictions for younger teens. Full color graphic novel inspired by her own experiences. Leah is 12 and she turns 13 during the book. She and her family moved from Romania to Montreal, Canada. Her first period starts while they are at the airport waiting to leave. Her French is very pitiful and her English is very basic. Finding someone at her new middle school who speaks Romanian is almost impossible. She is placed in an immersion class where all students are working to learn French and keep up with their other classes. The author uses scribbles to show anyone speaking a language Leah doesn't know or is speaking too fast for her. So there's all kinds of things she doesn't understand. And then words she does know appears in the middle of the scribbles. So it might be tomorrow, yesterday. The reader is right there with her frustrations. But over time, the reader may notice that there are fewer squiggles and more words as we go along, that she's learning. One side story is her love of art class, enjoyment of graphic novels, and drawings in her sketchbook. She is elated when the school magazine written by students accepts her application to provide art. Add to that her menstrual issues, making friends when you don't speak the language, and trying to remember what others that others have issues too, puts plenty of pressure on her. This is a full color graphic novel. Ashley, a young teen, turns 13 in the first part of the book, is a graffiti artist and has lived with several different foster families. Her abusive father is in jail. This new opportunity with Yuka, a scientist, and her husband Kitch, an artist, might be her best chance yet. And a new friend at school, Luke. Then Ashley accidentally finds her foster mother's secret stash of what looks like paints in a safe in the parents' room. She discovers the different colors give her different superpowers. She is a new superhero. But the paints were part of a secret military plan for super soldiers, and there is trouble ahead. Book 2, Primer Clashing Colors, involves the Teen Titans and is coming out. It came out this week, November 5. I'm going to have to see if I can get a copy of that. This was on my 2023 Best Teen Books list, but is a full-color graphic novel, fiction based on the author's experiences in middle school. In New York City in the year 2000, Steph is in 8th grade and ignoring her classmates' scrambles to select and get into the high school of their choice. She doesn't know where she wants to go until her art teacher mentions the LaGuardia High School of Music and Performing Arts. Steph's main focus is art, and this school would be perfect for her since she wants to be an artist. She works toward this goal with her art teacher, lying to her mother, to her friends, and to her art teacher. Her mother does not want her to go to a public school because she herself had a bad experience when she was that age. Eventually, everything will come out, but Steph is avoiding it for as long as she can and hoping for the best. But we all know when the cards fall. One nonfiction book for teens. To quote the New York Times review, for middle grade readers about how the Mona Lisa was stolen from the Louvre, how the robbery made the portrait the most famous artwork in the world, and how the painting by Leonardo da Vinci should never have existed at all. And the author goes through all these things to make you think, yeah, that's about right. It was stolen on August 21st, 1911. The book gives details on the theft and the aftermath, while occasionally hopping back to 1452 and beyond, when Da Vinci was born, and to his years of inquiry of everything and painting. Occasionally. Includes an index and extensive notes, and includes references to the quotes included in the book. It received the 2024 Robert F. Siebert Medal and was the 2024 Boston Globe Hornbook Award for nonfiction. And another book for older teens. This is also a full color graphic novel. And on her first day of her first year in college, Molly Bauer discovers her full ride scholarship to Peachtree Institute of Collegiate Arts has vanished. But strangely enough, an old document reveals a loophole. If Molly and 9 other students win at least one game of softball, they will each receive athletic scholarships. Can they pull it off? Do any of them know anything about softball? This is finding a way to work as a team, and some people are reluctant. Supporting each other and doing your best contains some language in this book. Now that's my main list, but as a matter of fact, I do have a few older or series titles to talk about since I have a little bit more time. This was published in 2005 and is still available if you want to order it online. Exuberant action as boy joyously paints the floor, the ceiling, the walls, the curtains, and the door, and then himself after his mother had told him no more. It's a celebration of color and art and fun. Just so you know, there is a view of his bare bottom on 2 pages toward the back of the book. But I am such a nut, I'm going to paint my... Right then his mom yells, "What?" So he doesn't say the word, but it's visible there. The city neighborhood is drab, brown, gray, and blah. A girl who loves to draw and paint thought maybe she should share her colorful art and handed out papers to people in the neighborhood. Taped some up on the sides of buildings, a touch of color, then a bit more until everyone is helping to paint the colors on more walls, plant flowers and trees, more music. This is fiction based on a true story. More information and a few photos are at the back of the book. Okay. You might already have this book in your collection. Milo and his older sister are riding the subway. During the trip, he imagines what the other riders' lives are like, and he sketches them in his sketchbook. He might be running from a dinosaur for all he knows. When one rider leaves at the same stop as Milo and walks the same direction he and his sister are, obviously going to the same place, that is when he realizes you can't know who someone is by what they look like. This one is great fun, and look how old it is. Published in 1988, it is still available. You can order this today. But Lois Ehlert had a number of books that were very popular. The first half of the book shows what the child and their mom do to prepare and plant a flower garden. The back half of the book shows, with staggered flaps, one by one, flowers in the colors of the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and then they take it and easy out and say purple instead of indigo and violet, as Roy G. Biv would say. But that doesn't matter to the kids who are listening to the book and seeing the colors. It's a celebration of flowers and of colors, and you can have kids painting some flowers after you read this story. It is a board book. I don't remember if I told you that. Another older title. All the houses on Mr. Plumbean Street were neat and tidy and looked the same. Then one day, a bird dropped a can of orange paint and it made a big splot on Mr. Plumbean's house. Everyone thought he should repaint his house. And he did. He painted it with blue and white. Next, he painted with red, yellow, green, and purple. His house was like a rainbow, a jungle, an explosion. After he put some unusual things in his front yard, like palm trees, a hammock, and an alligator, not real, his neighbors asked him why, one by one. And this is what he'd say: "My house is me and I am it. My house is where I like to be and it looks like all my dreams." Then, one by one, the neighbors changed their houses to reflect their own dreams: a ship, a hot air balloon, a castle, and more. All are content, and they're not anywhere near being the same. So this is be yourself and live your life, you might say. And the last book, a boy sees the block-long wall, it's the side of a building, and talks to it about how it is ignored. And then he goes to work gathering ideas and people to bring the wall back to the community, because he feels that it's kind of separated from them because it's big and plain and doesn't have anything going for it. People paint different people and things on the wall, And soon the musical gathering that was formerly held on a roof is now on the street with the mural, with the community right there to celebrate. Okay, so that's my list. I can't believe I got done in time. So thank you. I'm going to take this away again. And I didn't even look to see if there were any questions. I forgot to even mention that you could ask questions. So if anybody has any questions about the list or the titles on it, or things that I should have included that I missed, because there are titles there in your collection that I didn't run across. I'm sure that's true. It happens every year with all my lists because you can't read everything or find everything. I hope everybody got some ideas of things that might go well in their collection. I always feel that you, the librarians, know your community ever so much better than I do. And so these are ideas that I share with you to make choices for your collection and your community. And I expect that there are some on the list that just aren't going to work for you. And maybe there's a few that will be great additions to your summer reading collection for next year. So I'm looking again at questions and not seeing any. I'm going to say thank you all for coming or for watching this as a recording. And I hope you have great plans getting started in your heads about next year, even though it's a long way away, sort of. Oh, thank you, Tony. Tony said, thank you, Sally, great books. And thank you all. If you want to, I'm going to go over here now to the NCompass page, because you can just type in NCompass Live or NCompass, and there it is right there, NCompass Live. And you can see upcoming new shows that you might be interested in. This one will move down to the archived NCompass Live shows pretty soon. So and you can see the upcoming ones. I'm in a couple more. But the archive shows, here you have a list of all of the shows that our agency has done since 2009, I think it is. I'm not going to scroll down there to find out. But we have a couple of search options. One is maybe you only want to see the most recent 12 months, and you can click here, type in any topic that you might be interested in, or just to look along it for the last year. What have we talked about? E-rate, teens, pretty sweet tech. Yes, Amanda gives us that every month usually. Or you can check all the archives. And Krista always notes that the older the session is, the more likely that things that they've referred to or links that they've given you may be non-existent anymore or might be different. So there's more chance of that the older the show is, but we've left it as the show was recorded so you can see what people were talking about in 2014, for example. And then you can think about, well, now 10 years later, we're talking about it this way. And then you can give a NCompass Live show for that. Just let Krista know you have an idea. Anybody who has an idea that they would like to share with the community, the state, across the country, you are welcome to offer an idea to Krista. One of the things that I ask for in our Youth Grants for Excellence is, would you be willing to give a presentation if we asked you? And there's the yes or no spot there. If you say no, it doesn't affect getting a grant at all. It's just a way to, maybe somebody would like to know about this and how you went about it and how it went. So I'm not going to ask you till your project is over. And I might ask you sometime, but you are okay to say no. And with that, I think we'll say thank you again. Glad you were here, and have a great rest of the day. Goodbye.